for the Budget and Finance Committee. Honorable Jamie Hino.
Present.
Thank you. Honorable Jamie Hino is present. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Present.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. is present. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair is excused. Honorable Elmer P. Begay.
I'm here.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay is present. Honorable Amber Kenneth Crotty.
Shouted, this is Delegate Crotty. I'm present. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth Crotty is present. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Chairman, we have 4 members present upon roll call, 1 member not present, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
Shana, thank you for the roll call vote. We do have a quorum. So it is 12:19 p.m. We are back on record. Also, I see Delegate Odoso on the call also with us. So for the record, he's on the call. And so with that, we'll move forward to motion to exit. Motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay, second by Delegate Amber Kenneth-Crotty. So roll call vote to exit executive session on the record. Ramona?
Yes, Chairman Hino, roll call vote on motion to exit out of executive session. Excuse me, Honorable Jamie Hino. I'm sorry, Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty.
Shouted, this is Delegate Crotty. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote? Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote? Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, you have 3 members voting in the affirmative or opposing. Chairman not voting and 1 member not voting. Chairman?
Okay, we do have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Therefore, we are officially out of executive session and back on record at 12:20 p.m. So with this, moving forward, back to the presenter, Mr. Robert Joe's back on the line with us. I believe I see him somewhere. Yes, he is there. And so, are there any final questions for Mr. Joe? Tanoya Ramona, roll call vote to accept the report from the County Development Corporation.
Yes, Chairman, here your roll call vote on the accepting the report from Natani Development Corporation. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty, how do you vote?
Shouted, this is Delegate Crotty. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote? Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, and 1 member not voting. Chairman?
3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. We have accepted the report. Mr. Joe, thank you for being on the call with us this morning or this afternoon now. And so with this, let's move forward to the next item B, update on ARPA Hardship Assistance Program. Mr. Horace, are you on the call?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have the floor. Provide a report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the BFC committee. Good afternoon. My name is Emerson Horace. I am the accounting supervisor within the contract accounting section, a new section called ARPA. And I'm here with my team lead, Wallace James. I'm here to present the summary ARPA hardship check run report as of September 20th, 2022 on behalf of Ms. Elizabeth Begay, Controller. As of September 20th, 2022, the hardship team has processed 72 check runs since February 2022. A total of $337,830, $337,830 checks were paid to eligible Navajo customers. During the month of September, the hardship team processed 1,202 checks to eligible Navajo customers. To date, the total spent is $558,359,600. That represents 72 check runs since February 2022. The available balance after 72 check runs is $111,996,400. The overall budget to operate the ARPA Hardship Assistance Program is $677 million. That represents $557 million plus $120 million. That concludes my report, Chair Hamnio.
Vice Chair Smith, are you there?
Okay.
Yes, I'm here, Chairman.
Can you chair the meeting for a little bit while I give my report to my chapter?
Not it. He came in broken up. What did the chair say? Came in kind of broken up on my side.
Vice Chair Sitzila, Chair Henio stated that he's going to be giving his report to his chapter, so he asked you to step in and chair the meeting on his behalf. Thank you.
Committee members, motion.
Motion, Delegate.
Motion, Delegate Carty. Okay. Second, Delegate Carty.
Motion by Shita, Honorable Elmer Begay, second by Shemayaja, Honorable Crotty. Any questions for this report?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Carty.
Shemayaja, do you have a question?
Yes.
No, you may proceed with your question.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Yate, thank you, Shash, for your report. We will need a written report, and if you could identify or let us, the committee, know how many clients are still trying to navigate and get their correct paperwork, and what is the time frame? And looking at that, I believe you said you had $111 million. I would need to know how many outstanding applications and what is the case management plan to assist those individuals who have applied and waiting for their hardship check, and what then is the updated need, or what would be the potential surplus see now that I think does the application, if you could verify the application deadline is the end of this or the end of this, it's December 30th, 2022. As we wind down this calendar year, please let this committee know what are the plans of the office and how are we going to move forward to support those relatives who are still waiting for their checks. Thank you. Back to you, Pro Tem.
Congratulations, Shemayaja. Committee members, any questions for this report before I turn the floor back over? Not hearing any, so I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to the report. You may respond.
Thank you, Honorable Crotty. I went ahead and this is Emerson Horace again. I went ahead and wrote down all your requests and will provide a written report by our next meeting addressing each of your questions.
Thank you for that response. Back to committee members of Budget Finance. Any further questions?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty.
Not hearing any, so let's go for a roll call vote. Shanetta, round the horn.
Cecilia, this is Peggy. Shadeja, Amber Crotty has another question. I guess you didn't hear her.
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty. I did request for a follow-up question.
Shemayaja? Okay, I didn't hear you. Go ahead and allow you to do the follow-up question before I call for the question.
I appreciate that.
You may proceed.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, Mr. Horst, I think at this point you could verbally provide some of those updates. This is a regular report provided to the committee. And so what is the number or what is the plan for the case management of your team that you're supervising to reach out to those individuals who are still waiting for their hardship check? Is there a case management plan? I try to refer individuals who contact our office who are still inquiring about their check. And it sounds like, you know, just as of last week, an individual who had quite a few interactions with the office when you came out to Shiprock, then they couldn't find any record of him applying for the hardship. So that's just one instance, and I'm not sure how many are out there, and I'm concerned because we are winding down with the deadline. And so how are you providing case management to those who have applied and are still waiting for their check? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Crotty. I have Wallace James, who's our team lead, and he can kind of give a overview of that as how we're addressing our customers right now.
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, Shaditza.
Yes, we can hear you.
Identify yourself.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Shane Wallace James and Shia Senjikin in the Schnodo Nakadina, but she's China the Hanagati, the Chedo, Torichini, the Shinale. Sweet Tate, you see Nasha Ato, Jeta, Chapter Vice President, Doshne, Ajit, Doshinatash. Kodoi Shitije, from our supervisor, Emerson Horse. I'm one of the team leads here within the Arpa Hardship. There's a couple of questions that Honorable Crotty did ask, and I did write down a few. Right now, our doors are open back up to the public. We are located in Admin Building 1 upstairs. we are taking new applicants, and we are taking inquiries of our constituents that are coming in daily. The new applicants, we enter them into our daily log, and also in our spreadsheet, where we immediately put them into our database, and then which is also given a quality review check by one of our accountants, and then it's forwarded on to our Madam Controller to do the check runs. So every new applicant that comes in, we do process them the same day, because it is slowing down at this moment of new applicants applying. The main ones that are applying are the ones that have barely enrolled themselves, or either their children with the Navajo Nation. Those are the new enrollees, and we are working with vital records at this moment on getting those CIBs issued out to them as soon as possible. And then also, this is probably way outside one of the questions, but the shared CIB, we are also working with vital records, and we are getting those CIBs corrected. And once we get them corrected, we are adding those applicants onto the listings to get them paid out. And as to a time frame when a new applicant applies to when the check is sent out, we usually let the applicant know it takes about a few weeks, because it does go through a verification. It does go through quality review checks by a couple of people before it actually goes to data port for check runs. So, and then I know the other major question that we always get asked is the calls. We are answering calls at our end. We get hundreds of calls daily, hundreds of emails daily, and we are addressing those issues. We do have return check calls right now. We do have a group of employees that are focused on just that, to return check calls. We are calling the applicants back, informing them that their check has returned. They have an option of coming in person and picking up their check, or they could give us another address on where we can resend their checks to. So, and then the ones that have been still dated, we are contacting those individuals, collecting all of the paperworks for us to reissue these still dated checks. It's every single day. I have staff members that are constantly making calls, making callbacks, returning emails. And so, like some of the concerns, like I mentioned, we are addressing some of those issues. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Horst.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Thank you for that. Does that conclude your response back?
And I'd like to add one more thing, Honorable Smith. Also, Honorable Crotty, we also had staff work over the weekend on Saturday, Sunday for 16 hours to attempt to call customers whose checks are here at the admin 1. And so we did have success in contacting customers. I believe it was a total of 25, according to the report from Mr. James. So they were able to locate those customers, but the other significant issue is the addresses and making sure that we have correct addresses for the eligible customers. Thank you. Yes, that concludes our report, Mr. Hanio, Chairman.
Any further questions, Budget and Finance Committee members?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty with the follow-up.
You may proceed with your follow-up.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Thank you, Chef, for that update, recognizing that it can be tedious in trying to get out these checks, and the amount of work that your staff have committed to this process. So we appreciate that. My constant concern is just the support from your higher levels of management and the amount of ARPA funding that was made available, where, at this point, if there could have been, like we know there's all these portals, but it could have been great to have something similar for all of our citizens so that they could, like the scholarship office, where you submit everything and you, there's an attempt, and I'm not saying it's perfect, there could have been a way to try to assist entering this information as having, this is critical information, not only knowing all of our Navajo citizens who are out there and are enrolled and what their needs are, but it also could be a way to provide additional information on how to support and how to be engaged with their government. So with that being said, I did want to ask regarding your email. So there has been a change in your email from ARPA hardship at nnoc.org to ARPA hardship at nnoc.org. Do you have staff that are monitoring both of those sites? And are you doing any cross-reference to make sure individuals who had submitted documents to the original email then now are transferred over in terms of how you do your spreadsheet and assessment so that their applications or their requests have not fallen through the cracks? I'm just trying to understand how we could support those relatives who continue to contact delegates in different offices. It would be great if you just let us know what process or what email you would need from us, because when our relatives do not hear a response from the office, then we receive that information, via text, via our office, social media. So I'm just trying to make sure that that information is getting to your office and someone is verifying and following up. And that's why I always ask about case management. Pro Tem, that's my question. I'll yield back the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Karate. In response to those questions regarding the phone calls and the emails, we are addressing those calls and emails, and I'll go ahead and let Wallace explain how we're approaching that to help the customers to make sure that we don't miss anyone, and then also explain the change in the two things: one in the email address with a dot now between ARPA and Hardship, and then also the return calls and the incoming calls. Mr. James.
Okay. Thank you again, Madam Honorable Crotty, for your question, and also the BNF committee. Okay, the first question Honorable Crotty did ask was, are we getting support from our management team? We do get support from management team, but we just don't get a faster response to address some of these issues. But we do have that full support from our management team. As you guys are well aware that we Mr. Horace is actually our third supervisor with the hardship team, and each supervisor we had a different view of how the hardship is going to be run. So when a new supervisor comes in, there's a different way of he or she is managing. So it does take a few time or a while for us to get used to our new supervisors. And then also the portal. That has been part of our meetings, and Honorable Crowdy, developing a portal where applicants can actually go online and just type in their name and their CIB number, and to see how far their hardship check is, in the process. There has been talks of that. As far as I know now, there hasn't been no updated information on where those talks have went so far as I know. And then to the email concern, I know from the beginning, there was an the ARPA email address was ARPA Hardship at NNOOC. And now there's a new email that is ARPA.hardship at NNOOC. So the old email is actually connected to the new email. So anything that is sent to the old email address is actually combined with the new address, So we do have access to the old emails, and they were actually transferred all over to the new email address. So, and then responding back to the emails, we only have a staff of 20 temporary workers here within Hardship. So with the emails, I divide them up daily to our employees to address those emails. And to our calls, right now we are working with the system that's called Dial Pad. And what that dial pad is actually connected with the Wi-Fi. So we have no landlines here. So when we're working with the Wi-Fi, sometimes, the signal of the Wi-Fi is low, and then sometimes I'll disconnect our call, or sometimes our calls won't be coming in. So we are working, we did talk to Madam Controller about another program where we can possibly go to called Google Talks. But I did ask that question to see if we could get landlines, but apparently we're only in this office space temporarily, so we couldn't get landlines hooked up. So we are with the system that's called Dial Pad. And like I mentioned, we do get calls sometimes on certain days. Calls won't be coming in, and we had to address the issue with our tech support, FMIS, to inform them that calls are not coming in again. What's going on? I know there's that one number of the 928-223-3536 that is posted on the website. That's the main line, and it's supposed to connect you to any open line that we have here upstairs with Hardship. But like I mentioned, sometimes it doesn't work. We have talked about it, and we are addressing those issues. Right now, we are going to post everybody's dial pad numbers back on the website, so that the applicants can call us directly to our dial pad number. So that's some of the things that we're working on at this moment. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Horace.
Thank you, Mr. James. One more thing I'd like to add to that, Honorable Karate, is a contract was signed with Intersol to establish a database. So a week or so, we had our first Zoom meeting regarding the implementation of a database, whereas we can organize all of our information on a database and have a portal, such as like the first time when this program began, that clients can go to the website and enter in information onto the website, and then we can collect that information through this database. So that is in play now, but that will be a process to implement and to organize all of our applications and our CIVs, and to be able to organize all of our files and our information. And then the other part, as far as the phone lines, yes, we're looking at alternatives to help better address customer calls, so that when they do call, we're able to get more information and be able to allow the customers to call with between 8 and 5 which is the normal working hours. And then after 5 o'clock, we can see which calls are after 5 o'clock, and then they'll be able to leave a message or text a message as we begin to establish the communication with those customers. It may be a better communication tool for us, so that we're able to address all of our customers rather than the dial pad is what Mr. James is referring to. Thank you.
Back to the Budget Finance Committee members. Any further questions?
Pro Tem Delegate Crowdy with the follow-up question.
Rishi, Ayaja, go ahead. Honorable Crowdy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the team providing an update on how complicated this can be. So I just want to make sure, and in terms of the numbers, so anything that was provided to the old system, whether that's email or phone numbers, that information has been transferred over, and you're able to track that. And if so, then how many outstanding applications do you still have that are pending final approval to be issued checks? I'm just trying to get a sense of where we're at and understanding the complexities. And, hopefully this government at one point gets a total reform so that we modernize our systems so that we're not in these predicaments. And maybe that's, how these ARPA dollars could be used so that we maximize our effectiveness and efficiency. But with that being said, if you could just give me a breakdown, or how many applicants do you still have from your old email address? How many new, and what are we looking at in terms of how many relatives are out there that still either have applied and are waiting for that final check? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Crowdy, for that question. Mr. James, can you help with this question?
Okay, yes. Good afternoon again, and thank you for those questions, Honorable Crowdy. So right now, daily with the email address, we get about a little over 100 plus emails a day. Some of them are duplicates. And then from the old address, we had about over 5,000 emails, but all those emails have already been addressed. So right now, as I was looking at our stats of how many new applicants that we have that haven't been paid out, our last count that we sent to Madam Controller is a little over 800 new applicants. A listing of a little over 800 new applicants has been sent to our controller for quality review. So as soon as all those are filtered out, they will be paid out also, hopefully within the coming days. So far, every day we get a little over 50 new applicants every week, 50 plus applicants every week. We did start a new list just this past week, and which was Monday, and as of today, we have 117 new applicants within this week. So this 117 listing will actually go to the controller again for quality review. So We do have, like I mentioned, a listing of a little over 800 plus that went to the controller for the next round of payments. And this week we have, as of today, 117 that will be going to the controller again. So the numbers vary of new applicants every day. And back to the emails, we have addressed it, all of those emails from the old email address. So right now, like I mentioned, we do have duplicates that we filter out through our emails, and we focus on those ones that are inquiring. And like I mentioned, the emails that do come in, I do have the staff go into them and address 10 to 20 at a time, as much as they can handle. And there's some cases where, with where there's an issue of shared CIBs, and that's when we spend most of our time on applicants, on trying to fix that situation with them. And as soon as that issue is fixed, we move on to the next one again. So that is my response. Thank you.
Back to Budget and Finance Committee members. Any further questions?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty.
Honorable Crotty, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank Mr. Horace for allowing his staff to provide that information to the committee. Historically on this report, I have voted red because I still believe that upper management, like our acting controller, has the ability to onboard and provide enough support for your workers. I did read an email that was forwarded in terms of how workers are in the hardship program are being treated. And my recommendation is, although we may disagree on ultimately how to manage or to process this program, our workers are doing the best that they can. And my hope as their new supervisor and their third supervisor, that you provide a healthy workplace for them to make sure that they have an opportunity for self-care, an opportunity to feel appreciative, and understanding these challenges. So, working 16 hours on the weekend, I know that there's a crunch in terms of time and a push for leadership to send out these checks, but there's also technology that the Office of the Controller can implement to assist. And I think there's also an opportunity to partner. I'm not sure if NQA Customer Care is still supporting the office, but I do have concerns with NQA since they're starting to disconnect our community members, although they receive hundreds of millions of dollars. That's another subject. But I think in terms of how we move forward, if we could use this as a learning movement, and if you could provide solutions to the future, because this is not the only time we should expect to provide either direct communication or services to our people. This should be a pivot point for the government to be able to identify and know where our citizens are. It's important not only when we talk about voting, it's important when we're talking about government issues and concerns, whether it's scholarship and also their well-being. We deal with a lot of violence in our communities, and this nation, this mother government should know where all of her citizens are. And so I appreciate your team and this report. I would just like that written report because I'm able to provide that to the chapters that I represent. And so I appreciate the report at this time. Thank you, Pro Tem.
Negotiating committee members, you ready to vote? Danella, round the horn. Call for the question.
Yes, Shanella, Vice Chairman Raymond Smith Jr. Roll call vote on accepting the report. Honorable Amber Kenneth Crotty, how do you vote?
Shudder, this is Delegate Cruddy. I'll vote green. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Kenneth Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I will agree.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Jamie Henio, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Jamie Henio votes green. Vice Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Vice Chairman not voting. Vice Chairman?
Well, thank you for that roll call vote, Shanetta. Motion passes. I'll turn the gavel back over to our chair. Chair Henio, you have the gavel.
Vice Chair Smith, perhaps Chair Henio isn't done with his report yet. He's not responding.
I'm still here. Shananta, Vice Chair Smith. I'm getting questions from my chapter, so if you could help me out again.
Vice Chair
Go ahead,
Smith,
Chair Henio.
hear that?
We'll continue. Next on the agenda, Shada.
Okay,
Item
thank
C.
you. The next report is the FRF update presented by Lisa Jim.
Mr. Pro Tem Chair, this is Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
You want me to go ahead and start my report?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem Chair, Mr. Chair, members of the Budget and Finance Committee. I just raced in from Pinyon. We were doing a meeting out there with Delegate Yellow Hair, his chapters, to try to get some more information presented to them. Since the last time we reported to you, some of the things that we have been working on is we're really trying to go hard with the personnel section of the Arpa administrative regulatory support positions. We have placed advertisements in the Gallup Independent, the Navajo Times, the Albuquerque Journal. We are getting more applicants and we're trying to track it a little bit better than we have in the past. We did hire Latriva Largo from Department of Personnel Management to facilitate that process. And we seem to be getting some more results. Some of the challenges, again, seem to be trying to get the applicants lined up with the type of expertise that are needed for the position, and then that's hard to do. The finance section and OMB are having a hard time recruiting accountants, but that seems to be a general situation throughout the Navajo Nation. We have spent a large portion of our time since the last time I reported to you with the regional meetings. I try to make as many of them as I can. My backup is the executive deputy, Lisa Jim, and then after that is Max Big Horse. The thing for our office, we made a group consensus decision to start transitioning from administrator to project management. That entails getting a method in place to get all of these things done. The reports that are generated weekly are the finance. The finance reports are every 1st and the 15th. So the 15th report is posted. That's also distributed out to the by email and posted on our website. And we do a bi-weekly report on personnel, the status of those, and those are emailed to the council and the finance reports as well. We did make a big update to our FRF website. All the transmittals for all the accounts, the K accounts that are set up for ARPA funding are now available on the FRF website. So again, in an effort to support transparency, all that information is now available. One of the things that we are learning in this program is somehow we need to develop a coordination mechanism. That seems to be an issue. We are quite bureaucratic in our systems and processes. So when it goes across different sections, it begins to get a little bit difficult as far as coordination. An example is the submittal of the eligibility determination for the regional plans. The council did delegate me or the FRF office to go on ahead and sign off on the eligibility plans, but there was no revision made to getting signatures for the budgets. That's still under Division of Community Development. So coordination of getting those signatures has caused a little bit of issue at times. The other is the budget and finance resolution that set the process for eligibility determination. Chapters have to have a agenda and a resolution supporting the projects that they're recommending for it. It's box 3 on the forms, both for the certified and non-certified chapters. That's beginning to present an issue because chapters have their expenditure plans ready, and then they can't proceed because they don't have a resolution. So that's become pretty apparent in the delay of this process. The other portion that we're trying to facilitate right now is the transition from fiscal year 22 to 23. Our positions probably won't be included in the automatic rollover because we are contract accounts. Just so you're aware of it, the costs for the COLA, not COLA, the fringe benefit adjustment, the 8.58% was a large chunk of change to go on ahead and move around for the ARPA position. I can only imagine how the larger the administrative funded programs are going to get hit, which includes finance. I believe DOJ also has a number of positions, community development. It's going to be hitting their budget for the administrative support because that increase, when you budget it, actually has to be done for fiscal year 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Fiscal year 27 is added in, even though these funds in on December 31st, 2026, because the October 2026, November 2026, and December 2026 are actually tied into the Navajo Nation's fiscal year 2027 accounts. So those are the ones that we're trying to facilitate, make sure that people submit their documents early, and that way there's no issues with people not getting paid. The other that we're working and coordinating with finance and personnel is actually mapping these processes. A lot of the people that are going to be working, particularly when the regional plans are set up, it's a big transition to move from working with general funds processes to the K account. As the earlier report on the from on the hardship, they're saying they're on their 3rd supervisor. We are on our 3rd accountant, and each one of them brings their own perspective on what needs to be done to get documents through. We are continuing to meet between our office and theirs, and trying to map out all of this stuff, because it is going to be a significant change for many of the people that haven't worked with K accounts before. So that's what we're trying to facilitate. The other is we are still going back and trying to resolve interpretations of the sub-recipient agreements that have been made within TUA. We're trying to reconcile the projects and the reporting mechanism that align what's in the CARES defunded and what's underneath CJN. There's a hesitancy to share certain information, and our office's contention is all that information needs to be available, because when we were put on, we were asked to make sure that there's transparency, that things can be traced, and that's where we seem to be having a difference of opinion with other entities within the Navajo Nation. And we just want to make sure that the documentation is in place. No matter, to me, the more detailed, the more information that we have, the more that we'll be ready and prepared for an audit. So those are some of the growing pains that we're going through, and hopefully we will get all those in place when all of the funding is set up. We did have a few issues with programs that were funded underneath CJN 2922, prioritizing the FY 23 general funds process because we are still trying to work with them to get accounts set up. So it's just a coordination thing. It goes across so much different departments and divisions within the Navajo Nation that it becomes an issue. Plus, the other programs don't have the support and the staffing that the FRF office does have. And so it's become an issue of time and resources to get everything done in addition to doing your regular 8 to 5 work. So I do understand some of the delayed processes and responses, but we do need to get this work done. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem Chair, members of the committee.
Goshen, is that the end of your report there, Mr. Potero?
Yes, sir, Mr. Pro Tem Chair.
Goshen, committee members, I need a motion.
Motion, Delegate Cardi.
Second, Delegate Begay.
Motion by Honorable Crotty and second by Honorable Elmer Begay. Questions for the ARPA team here?
Pro Tem Delegate Cardi with a question.
You may proceed with your question, Honorable Crotty.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the update, Mr. Potero. In terms of the budget forms, the BIM, if I could get clarification, so Navajo Nation Budget Instruction Manual does strongly suggest a signature. What is the position of ARPA or DOJ in terms of if the division director or whoever is submitting the budget, that there's not a signature, because that might be delaying, not necessarily not approving, but just delaying these reviews that are going to be coming in from the chapter. And there is some concern. I received an email from, I'm getting a lot of solicitations from businesses. I don't think that's appropriate, but I'll deal with business regulatory on that. But it seems that some of the businesses feel that there's a September 30th deadline. I reread the resolution. I voted against it, but it didn't look like there was a deadline for chapters to submit their proposals for regional projects, but that there's a encumbrance deadline of September 2024. Can we get some clarification on where we're at with that, just in terms of the perceived 90-day deadline for regional projects? Thank you, Mr. Potero. I yield back the floor.
Goshen, thank you, Honorable Crotty. Committee members of Budget Finance, any further questions? If not, I'll turn the floor back over to Mr. Potero. Mr. Potero, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I am looking it up right now. there is a section underneath CJN 2922 where it does give a deadline of September. But those are actually 2024. Somehow people are interpreting it, I believe, as 2022. If you look underneath page 7 of 28, underneath CJN 2922, where it talks about the reversion that's for certified chapters, and that's actually having the September 30, 2024 date. As far as I know, those are the only, there's another one in here. Okay, page 8 of 29, underneath CJN 2922, underneath K, each delegate shall submit a comprehensive list of projects, including applicable BFS-31-21, Appendix A, Appendix B, and supporting documents for those projects that have not already received NNDOJ initial eligibility determinations for their respective delegate region, totaling no more than their delegate region allocation of 8,802,340 set forth in Exhibit C to the NNFA office by no later than September 30, 2024. I believe that's where the confusion is, that it has those dates. The problem being is that CJN 2922 gives the deadline for chapters to submit their projects by September 30, 2024, but underneath CJY 4121, there's a section that says that council will review all projects for possible reallocation at the end of the second quarter of 2024. So in essence, the July 1st, 2024 date comes before the deadline of regions submitting their plans before September 30, 2020. So the reallocation review happens before the deadline for chapters to submit their regional plans. So those are the dates that might be confusing for individuals. They're probably interpreting that as 2022 when it's actually 2024. But like I said, the issue is the review underneath CJY 4121, but that happens at the end of the second quarter of 2024. Mr. Pro Tem Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patero. Back to the committee members. Any further questions? Not hearing any, so I'll call for the question. Another? Around the horn.
Yes, Chanela, Vice Chairman Raymond Smith. Roll call vote on accepting the report. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bacardi, how do you vote?
Shade, this is Delegate Cardi. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bacardi votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Shana. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Jamie Henio, how do you vote? Honorable Jamie Henio, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Jamie Henio votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, Vice Chairman not voting, and 1 member excused. Vice Chairman?
Thank you for that roll call vote. Report passes. Shade, what's next on the agenda?
Thank you, members of the Budget and Finance Committee. The next one is the update on the FY23 budget, OMB.
Do we have OMB online to present this? OMB?
Vice Chair Smith, this is Dominic Bial.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bial. You may proceed with your report.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Smith, members of the Budget and Finance Committee, and others on the call. The agenda is stated as an update on the 23 budget. So I'll be very brief, and we'll provide the report in oral and verbal manner. The members of the committee, of course, know that the Navajo Nation Council on the morning of September 8th passed the proposed budget, the legislation, and so forth. Thereafter, it's our job, as well as the Office of the Speaker, Legislative Services, and Legislative Counsel's Office, to finalize the resolution, the various exhibits, and so on. That typically takes 2 or 3 days, working days, and so on. So all of that was finished on September 14th. Which was last Wednesday. And the resolution is now numbered CS 4222. So the resolution with the various exhibits, including the big budget book. The big budget book took a little while to complete because of some of the amendments, particularly the permanent fund excess income, additional funding for veterans, controller's office, and so forth, required the budgets, affected budgets, to be revised, which in turn requires the exhibits to the resolution to be updated as well with that same information. And then subsequently, finally, the narrative in the resolution itself, where need be, that those adjustments were made too. So, as I said, the resolution signed by the Speaker, passed by the Council, was sent to the President's office last Wednesday. So the President now has 10 days from that date to take his action. That 10 days would be this coming Saturday. So the President has up until then, Saturday, to make his final decisions as far as whether to sign it, whether to exercise any line item vetoes of any budgets or budget amounts and so forth. And then thereafter, this coming next week, beginning Monday, we would incorporate the final budget as passed by Council and act upon by President, and have that ready to be downloaded or uploaded effective October 1st for the new fiscal year. Just very briefly, in a couple of minutes, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, that's the update of where we are at the moment. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Friol, thank you for your report. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, sir.
Nagoshi? Budget and Finance Committee members, motion.
This is Delga Brown, all motion.
Have Honorable Brown motioning, second. Second going once.
Second, Delegate Crotty.
Are you seconding the motion there, Honorable Crotty?
So, second, Delegate Crotty.
Goshen, we have a motion and a second in place. Committee members, any questions?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty.
Honorable Crotty, you may proceed with your question.
Yes, I do have a question regarding, so fiscal year 2023, there was funding from the excess permanent trust fund. Does OMB, who then coordinates this discussion on how to allocate what is now going to be considered UUSB? Does OMB help facilitate that conversation, or does that solely rest with council? The second question is, where are we at in terms of modernizing our system? So I appreciate I got the binder and the USB, but where then is that going to be housed somewhere on the OMB website? So if a constituent or someone wants to look at the entire budget, they have accessibility. And the third area is, when do we foresee going into a multi-year allocation so that we can pre-plan? And because my concern is, once this fiscal year is over, there's always issues with insurance. It impacts our social services, like for the senior center vans, like everybody, there's a chronic issue happening here when we have to wait for the fiscal year and not knowing what allocations remain. So I'd like to get those updates. Thank you, Pro Tem.
Goshen, Honorable Crotty. Budget Finance, any questions before I turn the floor back over to Mr. Bial? Not hearing any at this point in time. Mr. Bial, you have the floor.
Thank you, Vice Chair Smith. Responding to Delegate Crotty's questions, the funding that was available this fiscal year for budgeting purposes from the permanent fund excess income, which would be $21 million, specifically $21,237,970, pursuant to the resolution as passed by council. That would be deposited into the UUSB. So it would be available thereupon during the new fiscal year, beginning in October. Now, typically, what would occur is the final UUSB available balance would be determined by the fiscal year 22 financial closeout by the Controller's Office. That's why in prior years, I think Council and committee will remember that typically the UUSB balance isn't available until late October or during November. That's when the books are closed for this fiscal year, which will determine the balance, less a lot of the carryovers and so forth that are also in the resolution. So when that balance is available, the Controller's Office typically will announce it. The amount is the amount that's available in the UUSB will be the dollar amount as a result of the closeout activity. At that point, the controller will notify the branches, the divisions, and oversight committees at that point, the leadership, meaning in this case it could be the branch chiefs, as well as OMB, we would be involved in it, would say that the balance is available and the option is there for, again, leadership to consider proposals and funding initiatives for that particular funding. And I know as an example that President Nez, in one of his messages to the council, stated that he would like to meet with the other two branch chiefs to formulate a plan and a strategy to approach this on a comprehensive basis, using, for example, a lot of the unmet needs that were identified during the 23 budget process that we just completed. So that's the part on the UUFB. The second question on modernization and becoming more automated and so forth, we will make it one of our jobs, OMB, working with other pertinent parties like OOC and so forth, to make it more automated, our annual budgeting process, the forms, the tools we use, and so forth, all in an effort to improve the way it works. Thirdly, the multi-year budgeting process. We, again, during the first quarter, will be working with leadership to identify, as the president has often put it in the past, at least a 2-year budgeting process so that we don't have to go through the full budgeting process lasting about 4 months. We would only have to do it maybe every other year. Now, the reason it couldn't be done for this year's budgeting process is because there's an election in November. So this coming January, there will be some new leadership, whether that's at the president's level or in the council. So we couldn't adopt a 2-year budget because then the new incoming administration, as well as the council, the BNF committee, and etc., would have to wait until fiscal year 24 before they can even entertain any budget. So the timing of it was crucial. But we'll begin to do that for the 24-25 budget period, and then the 2 years after that. Mr. Chair, committee members, that's my response at this point. Thank you, Delegate Karate and members of the committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. Beal. Pro Tem, are you on the call?
Yes, Mr. Beal, did you complete your answer?
Yes, sir, I did.
Thank you for clarification on that. Back to committee members, any further questions or follow-up on this report here?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty.
Honorable Crotty, you may proceed with your question.
Yes, Pro Tem. So we have talked as a committee on this multi-fiscal year process since the beginning of our term, so of this council. So it's been 3 years. If I could make the recommendation, Vice Chair and to Chair of the committee, that either a subcommittee or a task force be established with a timeline so that we can move forward with that recommendation, or at least examine the pros and the cons in terms of to get this off the ground. So there's a memo from Office of President, Vice President, I think it's dated 2019 with this recommendation. So now we're in 2022. I just need to know in terms of not being part of these conversations, and the 3 branch chiefs just make recommendations. So BNF has to be involved since we're the entity that has the authority and the oversight. And so I'd like to make that request to our chair and vice chair so that we could support in moving forward with a multi-year budget season. Thank you, Chair Pro Tem.
Honorable Crotty. Shudra, did you get that information regarding the request from Honorable Crotty?
Yes, I did.
Augustine, appreciate that. We'll go ahead and when I give the floor back, I'll kind of brief in Chairman or Henio on what your request is. Back to committee members. Any further questions?
Could everyone please mute their phones if they're not speaking, please?
I go ahead and Shaduk for announcing that. There's no other questions. I'll go ahead and ask for the question to be roll call vote. Nada? Around the horn.
Yes, Vice Chairman Freeman Smith, roll call vote on accepting the report. Honorable Amber Canesbach Cardy, how do you vote?
Shaded the delegate Crotty vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Canesbach Cardy votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Jamie Henio, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Jamie Henio votes green. Vice Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Vice Chairman not voting, and 1 member excused. Vice Chairman?
Thank you for that roll call vote. Motion passes. Shada, what's next on the agenda? Before we go to the next agenda item, Chair Henry, are you available to take the gavel?
Oh, Vice Chair Smith, I am available. Thank you for helping me out. I'm done with my business with Untitled Chapter, so thank you.
Agoshin, you have the gavel, Chair Henry.
Okay, Vice Chair Smith. Okay, Budget and Finance Committee, let's move forward to the next item on our agenda, which is old business. There's none. 7, new business. Legislation 103-22. I did hear Delegate Pernell Halona on the call. So this, Peggy, if you read the legislation into the record for us, please.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Budget and Finance Committee. This legislation was assigned to Resources and Development Committee, thence Budget and Finance Committee. So Budget and Finance Committee has final authority. It's a proposed Navigation Council Resolution, 24th Navigation Council Year 2022, introduced by Pernell Halona. Prime sponsor, tracking number 0103-22, an act relating to the Resources and Development and Budget and Finance Committees approving a change to Cap 3518 for the Mexican Springs chapter by deleting the quote road maintenance culverts and bridges end quote project and adding the quote road improvement Badger Loop end quote project in funding year 1 with no change in the original funding amount. The exhibits that are referenced in the legislation are there, and the Internet public review shows no comments made. The Resources and Development Committee has a due pass with no amendments, and the vote tally sheet, which is attached. There are amendments that need to be made on this legislation. Chair Henry.
Thank you for the reading. And so with this, Budget and Finance Committee, is there a motion?
Motion, Delegate Begay.
A motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay. Is there a second? Motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay. Is there?
Chairman Henio, if you could let me know what legislation are we on?
133-22. Very first one.
And what is that? And that's regarding,
A CAP 3518 legislation.
oh, I'll second. Thank you.
Delegate Bologna. The second?
Yes, I appreciate that. Yes, I'll second. Sorry about that. Thank you, Chair.
So we do have a motion and second. Motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay, second by Delegate Ember Caniswa-Crotty. So with this, I believe there is an amendment that needs to be made. So with this, Delegate Halona, if you would provide information and what amendment needs to be made to your legislation. Delegate Pernell Halona. National Delegate Pernell Halona, are you on the call? Delegate Pernell Halona, first call. Delegate Pernell Halona, second call. Delegate Pernell Halona, are you there? Delegate Pernell Halona, third and final call.
Chair Henio, I think that Hess is in session right now. He might be at that meeting.
We don't have a sponsor. Delegate Elmer P. Begay and everything is about Cardi. Who are your wishes as you're holding the motion in a second? As we don't have a sponsor. Delegate Elmer P. Begay.
Earlier by our delegation.
Is Elmer Begay? Go green?
No.
Within calendar clinic.
Can you please make the phone?
We have 110 Navajo Nation.
Chair Henio,
Elmer P. Begay. We don't have a sponsor.
Chair Henio, this is Peggy.
What's that?
Hold on.
Got the one that I made the motion? Okay.
I've been
withdraw my motion then.
He's not responding.
Chair Henio, this is Peggy. He's on the call.
He's on the call. Final call.
Chair Henio, Salona?
Yes, Shanada. Are you there?
I'm back on the line. Are you ready for my legislation?
We are. There's a motion and second on your legislation. We just need to get information on the limit and provide information on that amendment to the committee. We have a lot of background.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Halona, we cannot hear you at all.
As I stated earlier, since the onset of COVID.
There's too much background.
Okay.
At least 10 to 15 teleconference calls a day, and we're expected to be on every one of them to give our one.
Chair Henio, I do have that legislation ready, the amendment.
Delegate Halona, there's too much background music.
As well for Coyote
Canyon, which is
not community. So welcome.
Oh, okay, let me walk away. How about now, Chair?
No, we cannot. We don't hear that music no more.
I'm doing a deal meeting here in Mexican Springs at our washout. So, okay, yes. From the first year to the third year.
review for.
Delegate Helona, we cannot hear you at all.
Oh, man. How about now, Chair?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I do have an amendment for that legislation. I sent it, I sent it to Peggy. I'm not sure if she received it. Ms. Lapai has the legislation written up, and she can resend it out to us.
Chairman Henio, this is Peggy. Can I speak?
Thank you, Delegate Helona. Peggy, do you have the amendment?
Okay, Chair Henio and Delegate Helona, I'm asking for clarification. Laurleen just sent out another amendment. I already sent out the first amendment that you had sent me, but I'm confused. How many amendments do we have? So that I can get those out to the committee.
It's just the one amendment that's it's probably she probably has the same one that I sent to her. I was just sending it to you just to make sure we all got a copy of it. Peggy, thank you. Just 1 minute.
So Delegate Helona, what would that amendment be?
It's to change the road. Name of that road. Badger Loop Road. The amendment was to change the money from Badger Loop Road to other projects. Sergio. Christine Sam.
Okay, Ms. Tapahi, which is the correct amendment that you wish the committee to consider?
The one that Peggy sent out. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Peggy, would you read the amendment into the record?
Yes. Okay, this is amendment to legislation number 0103-22, sponsored by Pernell Helona. 1, on page 1 at line 16 in the title of the act, after the word year, delete 1 and insert 3. 2, on page 2 at line 15 after the word project, delete the following, also in year 1, and insert the following, and that's overstricken language, and insert the following underscored in the year 3 funding period. 3, on page 3 at line 1 after the word chapter, delete the following. Overstricken is the semicolon, also in year 1. And then insert the following new language in the year 3 funding period. That's underscored as shown in the attached exhibit 2. 4, replace the exhibit 2 showing the date submitted May 20, 2021 with the revised exhibit 2 showing date submitted 08/30/22. And then, let's see. Renumber or reletter succeeding paragraphs, sections, and exhibits as necessary and appropriate. The Office of Legislative Services and the Office of Legislative Counsel are authorized to make technical edits to this act and its exhibits to implement the committee's intent. This amendment supersedes inconsistent language in any other amendments which language shall be conformed. Okay. That's the reading of the amendment.
Kushina, for an amendment, is there a motion, committee members? Committee members, the amendment has been read into the record.
Vice Chair Smith.
Motion by Vice Chair Smith.
Second, Delegate Crotty.
Okay, we do have a motion by Vice Chair Smith, second by Delegate Spacrati. Any questions, comments on amendment number 1?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Carty with a question.
Gushin, you have the floor.
Chair, I support however the community wants to reallocate their funding. The committee did direct the Department of Community Development to create an administrative process. If we could get a status on where we're at with that. If they're not on the line, I'm fine with just a written response, as all of these modifications do and have been clogging up our legislative requests, and I think this is probably like the 80th change that this committee has addressed. If we could have an administrative process so it doesn't delay the projects at the chapter level. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the question. Delegate Pernell Halona.
Chair, Solona? Chair Solona?
Yes, there's a question regarding the amendment for you, if you would provide a response.
Chair, this is Solona again. I don't have an answer for that. If anybody's got a legislation drafted or started in that area, I have heard that there is a lot of legislation that we're going through, and there was somebody supposed to be getting a drafting of legislation to make it go smoother, but I haven't seen any or heard anything yet from it. Chair.
Delegate Halona. Delegate Amber Kinespacrati. Does that help you with your question?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Well, we could address that later on, maybe when we meet with, or when that leadership meeting with RDC as there's the oversight for Division of Community Development. Thank you, Chair. I'm ready to vote.
Are there any questions on amendment number 1? We'll move forward to a roll call vote. Ramona, if you would lead us in a roll call vote for amendment number 1.
Yes, Chairman Hino, roll call vote on the amendment. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kinespacrati, how do you vote?
This is Delegate Carty, vote green. Thank you.
Honorable Amber Kinespacrati votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green. Yeah.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
Four in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, and member number 1 passes. Back to the main motion. Any questions on the main motion? There are no questions. I'll call for the question on legislation 103-22. Ramona, roll call vote.
Yes, Chairman Hino, roll call vote on the main motion. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kinespacrati, how do you vote?
Delegate Carty, vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kinespacrati votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Nathaniel Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth Crotty, how do you vote?
But did you hear my vote
Sorry.
prior? This is
I'm sorry.
Delegate Crotty.
I'm sorry. Honorable Elmer P. Begay.
That's okay.
Vote.
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative or opposing. Chairman not voting. 1 member excused. Chairman Hino.
Okay, legislation 103-22. We have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Okay, thank you, Shenandoah. Delegate Pernell Olona.
Oh, thank you, BF Committee and Chair Daniel. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Let's move forward to legislation 109-22. Shenandoah, Delegate Wilson Stewart Jr., are you on the call with us?
Oh, Shana, I'm here.
Okay, Shana, if you would, Peggy, read the legislation to the record for us, please.
Okay, thank you, Chairman and members of the Budget and Finance Committee. This resolution was assigned to Resources and Development, thence Budget and Finance, thence Navajo Committee, thence Navajo Nation Council. It's a proposed Navajo Nation Council resolution, 24th Navajo Nation Council, 4th year 2022, introduced by Wilson C. Stewart Jr., prime sponsor, tracking number 0109-22. An act relating to the Resources and Development, Budget and Finance, and Navajo Committees and the Navajo Nation Council, allocating $18,880,105 from the Citizen Fund to Nava Mill Lumber and Logging Company for its proposed forest products business to be constructed in Sawmill Chapter, approving the related expenditure plan pursuant to 12 NNC Section 2501 through 2508. This has the exhibits that are referenced in the legislation. There's several comments on the first report. There's 6 individuals who are opposing this project, and their comments are attached here too. The Resources and Development Committee has a due pass with no amendments and a vote tally sheet that's attached. Chair Hino.
Okay, thank you for the reading of the legislation. With that, let's move forward to a motion. Is there a motion?
Delegate Begay.
Motion by Shenandoah, Delegate Elmer P. Begay. Is there a second? Motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay. Is there a second? There was a motion. Is there a second going once? Motion by Delegate Elmer P. Begay. Is there a second?
Second, Vice Chair.
Vice Chair Smith, second. So we do have a motion, a second on the floor, and therefore, with this, I'll defer to Saleh. Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr., you have the floor.
Oh, good morning. Good afternoon, yeah. Shana, Chairman Hinio, Aaron, the Shaslan Vice Chair Smith, Aaron, the Koro, Shana, do in the Shazaya, Doshasna, Ashtana, Aaron, the Koro, Shmayajna, Budget and Finance Committee members, those staff, Shmayaja Careful Yacht A, Aro Koro, his Honosanagi is like colleagues and Osanagi is not again, he not with me, the legislation, the negation. Shana, Honorable Ben Bennett, Aro, and the Koro, Shatsuya, Aaron Sam, they're online, Shana, the Nava Mill, and the Nigi a year ago, back in May, a President Nezaki, a budget Kaila for the business site lease, ako yela asli do the queen na haida ato basement anash is hada ita da e dinas kides na do keya nigi pahatzo. So through the regular process that we all are familiar with for business site leasing around the business site requirement that egita bahadal yado bela asli when we came in as delegates for the 24th Navajo Nation Council, 88 ben nachigo nanagi eya the COVID they sniki the cousin sagi around the corner yan hitan snigi ben nachigi there was a delay in the whole process for them to move forward. They continued to move forward the best way they knew how, but not. I would help them every now and then. Out of a president to say yes, this business does meet all the requirements. It has all the legal dues and whatnot to it. So let's see what they do. No, she called without a kaila donanish. I thought had no chef but natchet. We do have a former NFPI site within the same 4 communities I represent in the Jodiri area. It's gonna be a small operation to see how it goes again, to make sure that we follow the correct environmental laws and do's and don'ts on that area as well. Basalado lechin na do should celebrate the storm Mr. Samako. Ebe Kunzaja Ebe Hasir, Kodi Beso, the Nikedi 88 that's to help them get through that process. Mr. Bennett, Honorable Bennett, that's the East that should Mr. Sam. Kunzaja Be Hasir election na do BNF committee members. Kwagi Badadesh after like the rest of the time. If they're online chairman, Hinio.
Kushin Sitsula. With that, as you indicated to defer the rest of your time to Shananta Akado, Ben Bennett, Inslash. Mr. Ben Bennett, star 6. I cannot hear you.
Makoshi Nansha. Yate DNF committee Benofenigi. Long time no see, long time no hear. Dida Navamil the Ninigi Yat Quishi Nachayeta we put it into motion. And last year in being President Nez business site lease na Hasaini Ila. And this is an opportunity. This is what we want to do is create jobs, preserve our forest, and help our communities thrive. There's a lot of people out there that are wanting to sell wood. We could purchase that. So there's a lot of, the main objective is to create jobs. So the thing about it is that we need financing. We are partnering up with people such as Navajo Nation Chamber of Commerce for funding avenues, as well as the ERA money, and also the agriculture infrastructure plan, because that part of it, we're going to help to try to restore watersheds in our communities, and we need to start cutting down a lot of the bark beetle. A lot of those trees are being attacked by bark beetle. We want to do a sanitation salvage. In addition to that, I think that we want to try to help to prevent forest fire by thinning out a lot of the brush that is throughout our Navajo Nation forest. I think that we all know what forest fires can do, from the last fire that we had in Sawmill, as well as in Crystal and Noslini, not Noslini, but Sheep Springs in that area. So Ebenachet. We think that this is a funding opportunity. Forestry is one of our partners because we are using their forestry management plan as our guide. And they are going to be kind of like our light to show us where we need to go and stuff like that. In addition to that, for jobs, workforce development is another partner that we propose to use to help create a lot of these jobs. So, that's about where we're at with it. We're looking at funding so we could begin to implement our plan, hopefully by spring of next year. So, are there any questions?
Okay, with that, Mr. Bennett, does it complete your presentation?
That pretty much completes my information. I'll go ahead and allow Mr. Sam to add on to that.
Okay, Mr. Sam?
Yes, Yati. I don't know hear this she case it national hospital. Should my excuse me. I don't know lay to so they nasha. Actually 100% Navajo owned business. And I got my education at the University of New Mexico as well as Arizona State, Arizona Real Estate and Business School, with the help of my grandmother who was on Social Security on disability. I used the workforce development as well as the Navajo Nation Scholarship Program. I came back to the Navajo Nation and seen a venture business entrepreneurship that I want to instill our traditional structures back onto the Navajo Nation. A lot of our grandmothers, are the sheep corrals, the horse corrals, as well as their log hogans. They're being scarce here on the Navajo reservation, Navajo Nation. And what the design of Navajo Mill is 100% Navajo owned, and we want to keep it Navajo owned. It's for our people, and we want, and I'm not just talking on behalf of Navajo Mill, but I'm talking on behalf of our people, our elders here on the Navajo Nation. So we want to go about the self-reliance. This is a real good opportunity to bring revenue back into the Navajo Nation. We do have plans as well as projected revenues. We would like to put this in motion as a Navajo-owned business. That business regulatory went through all the criteria and regulations through the Division of Economic Development. We've been this far since 2016 that this business venture that is for our people. And as a Navajo-owned business, I ask of you today for your vote.
Mr. Sam. So with that, back to sponsor, Shananta. Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr., does that complete your presentation?
At this time, Shana.
With that, let's move forward to the committee, Budget and Finance Committee. Questions, comments on legislation 109-22.
Chair Henio, this is Delegate Crowdy with a question.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm pulling up the legislation. Could the sponsor, and thank you for sponsoring this legislation, this request. I did hear a community of Sheep Springs that I represent. I am not familiar with this proposal, and I'm not sure if the community has been updated, considering if if this project will encroach on some of the local community efforts to spur economic development on utilizing the mountain region. So I'd like to know in your legislation where that collaborative effort is, because the source of funding that your agent is requesting is from the CEJASIN. And so I am also looking in terms of this investment. So as leadership, is there going to be a payback in terms of this? Is this somewhat considered a loan? In the business world, that's very commonplace. And I did hear from the agent some, to do things if it's up to, if it has to be, it's up to me. And I agree with that. But where we conflict with philosophy is then requesting either a subsidy or a grant from the Navajo Nation government. And I did hear jobs, so I'm not sure exactly what jobs, if you could help me in the legislation where that is determined. Because what we have learned with CEJASIN funding is there was millions of dollars that were invested into that Rhino Corporation. And they're not paying, they're not obligated to pay back the nation. They're not paying rental fee for a number of years. They're not even paying sales tax because that's on county land. And so I think I want to be able to make sure in terms of the investment, how are the people going to directly benefit? So is the intent to invest in this business and then our people are going to receive wood and cuttings free of charge to help support or to help offset the increased cost of energy or inflation rates? I want a clear understanding in terms of the cost benefit, and I appreciate the terms of the education and the business experience that the agent is providing, but I'd also need to know then, are there other leverages of dollars, especially if there's any private banks or other non-Navajo funding that's being requested for this project so that we could leverage. And CEJASIN does have that verbiage in there that it's not a requirement, but it's a recommendation to leverage dollars. And so I just need to get a clearer idea. I thought we would be receiving a PowerPoint presentation, but I don't see that in my email. That could be resended, and hopefully that answers some of the questions I have regarding this legislation. Thank you, Pro Tem Chair, or I'm sorry, Chair Henio. If I could have those questions answered by the sponsor and the agent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shananta, for your questions. I'll defer back to Cecilia. Shananta, Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr.
Chairman Henio, for your questions and enlightenment as well as what you need to see and what you're requesting for as a colleague of mine as well, where this would also affect the communities on the other side of the mountain, over the hill, that's Oleato. But I'm going to go ahead and refer the questions to Honorable Ben Bennett and also Mr. Sam to answer your questions. So Shana, Mr. Bennett, can you answer the questions?
Okay, Yate. Thank you, Amber, for your questions. And yes, I think that there is going to be, first of all, if I may, I'd like to say that the overall project cost, we're looking at $53 million. So what we are asking in the form of CEJASIN dollars is just a small portion of that. We do have proposals with outside sources. We also are proposing to go with Bia Guarantee Loans. And this is our first stop in pursuing funds to build this. I guess one of the other things is that we're looking at creating a minimum of 100 jobs. right off the bat. So that is a form of payback. The products that we will be generating are stuff like log cabin kits, Hogan kits, and these will be affordable for our Navajo people. We don't want to build anything like the $1 million cabins in Colorado, but more like what people use around here. One of our other partners that we're looking at to create more jobs with is Navajo Electric, a solar company that's out here. And we're looking at building some of those cabins to make them solar so that they could be placed off grid, like up in the Chusca Mountains. We're also going to be doing pellets. We're going to be selling pellets as well as rough cut lumber. And also hopefully eventually begin to produce particle board and wafer board for siding. As you know, the lumber prices throughout the country have just gone up dramatically. We want to make sure that we keep our costs down. The other thing that we are proposing to do is that eventually when the company takes off and begins to profit, then at that time we could sit down to begin to look at a dividend that could be paid back to the nation in the form of scholarships or even some other items that we do need. So those are some of the things that we do have planned at this time. Does that answer your question, Chima?
Okay, thank you, Shananta, for your response to the question. Back to the committee. Any further questions, comments?
I have a question, Delegate McKay.
Shananta, you have the floor.
Yeah, Chairnio, Chairway, Delegate Stewart, Mr. Bennett. Sounds like seems like just to start up that the project there by he based on that line at least no by seems that just the starting up is a lot, and we're not sure what the based on that line at least no by I don't know. You could show some of these who your business partner is, who's I said not the case, and the demand is there, and how much is that just to start up renovating that building or building it? I thought how much is it going to cost to set up that, to establish that startup of the building, and then I don't know that if you have your right of way already made and electrical power and water is there, and you know that it seems that it's going to cost. How much is it going to cost? And then maybe the first year here, how much is it going to be projecting? Where's your statistic? Where's people that are requesting for that? And how many chapters are requesting for this kind of period that you're talking about? How many your potential customers are out there? My question. Now I'm not sure how many of you are in business already. Business, but just other experience having business and doing some reservation. My question.
Elmer PVG. This I'll defer back to Cecilia. Delegate Wilson, C. Stewart Jr.
Oh, Shana, I believe that completes our responses right now from the agents directly to BFC committee, unless they have any more questions. But I'll go ahead and refer back to the agents for that, for the responses, Shana, Chairman.
Kushina, Shanada, Mr. Ben Bennett.
Yeah, Mr. Begay, what you're looking at is that you're asking what the total cost is and what has been done up to now. What has been done up to now is that we do have a business site lease. There is a building that is going to be renovated and retrofitted to where we could operate out of. In addition to that, we are working with BIA. They have identified our right-of-way turnouts to the facility. And I think that if you look at the attached budget, I don't know if you guys have it, the capital outlay, we're looking at a proposed budget of $14.974482 million. And that's basically what it's going to cost to start up. The infrastructure, capacity building, and the like. What's left over from that is that we're looking at personnel and other equipment. Yeah.
With your response. Now back to Budget and Finance Committee. Any further questions, comments?
Chair, this is Delegate Brown.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, you have the floor.
Oh yeah, Mr. Bennett, I know that you responded to the cost. My first question is, have you secured any other funding? Is there? I know there's a lot of grants that are out there to help, and I mean just a lot of money. I'm wondering if you have ran any grants and secured any. If you can respond to that, yeah.
Kushina, defer back to Silla, Delegate Wilson, Sister Jr. Response.
Shana, I'll go ahead and defer to Honorable Ben Bennett for the response, or Mr. Sam.
Kushina, Viga. With this, I'll go back to Sunanta. Mr. Ben Bennett.
Uncle Shane, thank you again for the question, Mr. Brown. We have applied for several grants through the Navajo Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Arpa funds for the Navajo Nation, as well as BIA. And all of those presently are still pending, and we haven't heard back yet. And we are moving forward with what is put on the agenda for the nation. It just so happens that the BNF is today. But yes, we have done that, and we are still pending for an answer on all the other ones that we did submit for.
Kushina for your response. I'll defer back to Budget and Finance Committee. Any further questions?
Delegate Begay.
Delegate Elmer P. Begay, you have the floor.
and Ado to respond or I'm not sure regarding all this, but not just kidding how much it would cost to start up. Startup is $14.9 million. Startup. I don't know that it's just starting up to rectify that and to get to where you guys want, what kind of equipment you'll be putting in there, then and also we're still waiting for the BIA. Maybe the best to look at what kind of business plan do you guys have? Maybe they would show us that who's all the board of directors or the board members to that. Maybe the chapters that you supported. How many customers you can have if you're going to be chapters being supported by this efforts that you're doing, your endeavors. But I think if you have brochures, you can some of these important from the chapters that letters. Also I'm not sure if you have any support letter from the BIA. The reason why they stopped it, there was some not violation, but some restriction that happened regarding the endangered species. The whole forestry, what's that link? There are cases go out on them. I told you that 1 year is to create all this project or saga because right now you're asking for $14.9 million. How long is it going to take to spend this money, and then how long is it going to take to start up this project? $1 million to use it first. I don't know you can start working on it. I don't think that at the end, I would say that if there's no customers, all these, what's going to happen? How is it going to be relinquished back? That will be my question too. Or you have done that. With this forestry, it's limited. Just like for coal and how long is it going to take? How many of these are it's limited. It has no. But the forestry now don't finish it. I don't know. 3 years bigger, I don't know. You're looking at it because it's very limited. But it's a case though. So we need to look at the whole the aspect of the whole operation. Maybe we could see that. Maybe my question.
Delegate Elmer P. Begay, are you still there?
Yeah, that's cool.
Gashina, so with this, to the Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr. Response?
Chairman Nana, it'll be a C committee members, Nana. So for the questions and your concerns as well for the funding for CHSN. So such a bayades the amounts and balances that the checks and balances they around the Kodogi Oshibe okut ao a yabe hija hanada si z oko kwagishinai. We'll turn the floor back over to you to see what the next steps will be.
Okay, Shanadad, Mr. Ben Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Well, our plan is we do have a 4-year plan to implement the use of our 18 million that we are requesting. And it's broken down in the form of a budget. And I believe that it is attached to your packet with DNF. So AABCAL, we have everything listed in there from equipment, supplies, personnel, fringe benefit, insurance, everything that's going to go along with it. Those are all necessary items that need to be dealt with. As you know, forestry or lumber development is a high hazard industry, so our liability will probably be high. Those are some of the things that we will be addressing. As far as partners, do have, like I indicated, forestry is a partner. We do have another potential partner, which is Navajo Electric. We're also looking at when Mr. Sam began his pursuit of this proposal and the business site was approved, there was a request made to chapters such as Noslini, such as Sheep Springs, Tallahatchie, Mexican Springs, Lupton, Sawmill, Ganado, for interested parties if they wanted to add a board member onto it. We did not really receive any feedback on that, but as far as board members are concerned, we do have 4 members. We do have a chapter member from Sawmill. We do have another board member from Winderock. We do also have a board member from Fort Defiance and Mr. Sam, who is our CEO. And right now, we haven't pursued expanding on the board membership until we really begin to move forward with it. Right now, as I indicated, we did request for a response from those chapters, and some of the chapters just flat said that they didn't want to participate in it. So we just left it alone and we began to run without them. But that is also, that's always an option. We can always add on to it and we can move forward in that respect. Now, as far as our products are concerned, inflation is a big one with lumber. So we're looking at generating revenue, and we're looking at mainly for job creation. The revenue that we do make will go back into creating more jobs or keep people employed, as well as create other products with our sources. I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Sam if he has anything to add. Thank you, Mr. Begay.
Yate, Shanata. This is Aaron Sam. Coming back to the Navajo Nation, regards to Buy Navajo, as well as employing our own Navajo people. Regards to the 110 chapters, the vision within the Navamil is all about the traditional ways and customs of our Navajo Diné people. Regarding to 102 years span of the day animals as well as the night animals competing in the shoe game. Regarding to customers, would be from Eastern Agency all the way to Western Agency, as well as the northern part, as well as the southern part of the Navajo Nation. We are in this dilemma, I guess you would say, of wood products. We would like to go ahead and start immediately. When day one starts, we would like to go ahead and start harvesting wood chips for our customers. We like to work with Navajo Nation employee benefits on payroll deduction, as well as 638 programs on payroll deductions on log hogan construction. Those are just a few customers that are vendors, I guess you would say, that are looking into Navajo Meal. One thing that overall the Navajo Meal is that we, beyond harvesting, beyond thinning and chipping, we want to go into seeding, as well as we want to go into preservation and conservation, protecting our tribal forestries, our woodlands. We want to do aerial photography. We want to do mapping, as well as that we want to find out where these water tables are. When you start talking about wood products, you talk about furniture, you talk about pellets, you talk about solid doors, baseboards for housing. What we like to do is do a plan. Like I told you that I just got out of school. I'm in my 30s, and when I started this, I was barely in my early 30s when I started this business venture on the Navajo Nation. One thing is that I know that all of you council delegates are requesting for more informative information. As an entrepreneur, I would like to go ahead and provide more detailed information, PowerPoint. But because of bank institution, you have to have good credit. You would have to have Navajo Nation Division of Economic Development. They do have some microloans. They do have the business development fund. A lot of those are asking 100% collateral. So if you ask for a $200,000 loan, you would have to have $200,000 in collateral, and I don't have that. I'm just an average young Navajo entrepreneur here trying to make something happen for Navajo people. If you can just give me a chance and give me the time, that hopefully that that in NABI I would provide more detailed information. I know it goes to NABI, and then after that it goes to the council. Going back to helping our Navajo people and entrepreneurs, I want to make that step. So I come before you, Shanata. I know that there's a lot of information, there's a lot of whys and questions, but I'm working for the people, and I want BIA and forestry. I know there's a lot of tree huggers out there, and we want to work with them. I'm not going to go out there and do open clear outs of forestry. That's not my thought. We want to be respectful to Mother Earth and Father Sky, and our water too. Tool is life, water is life. So if you can please make this go further again, and we can provide those kind of information and answer all your questions at NABI and then Navajo Nation Council and so forth. But I'm here to plead with all of you. Thank you.
Chairman Pena, this is Delegate Crotty.
Appreciate Kiela for your response to the questions. I'll defer back to Budget and Finance Committee. Delegate Amber Knuswak-Crotty at the floor.
Yes, Chair. I appreciate the questions that my colleagues are asking regarding this request. I'll be honest, Mr. Sam, I'm a bit uncomfortable in your approach in asking for these dollars. So our responsibility is to be fiduciary agents, and my colleagues are asking for basic, and as you stated, coming out of school, basic business plan, basic proposal. If an outside bank is requesting that collateral, I would expect the same type of professionalism in requesting this funding from Navajo Nation government. I think in terms of pleading or begging, it puts us in a position of not looking at what has been provided, and that's what's in this legislation.
Shanada, Delegate Amber, can you spell Friday? You still there? Somebody, Donovan, are you still there?
Yes, Chair, I got them.
Okay, Shanada, Delegate Amber, can you spell Friday? Are you still with us?
Chair Hinio, I think her line cut or line dropped. I don't see her on the screen.
Okay, well, we waiting for her to come back on. Shanada Budget and Finance Committee. Are there any further questions?
Delegate Begay.
Shanada, Delegate Elmer P. Begay, you have the floor.
Chair Henry, other members of the BNF, and the person's talking, Mr. Sam, you know, that behind all this, yeah, we appreciate your educational endeavors and experience that you have, and also appreciate your interest in developing some business on the reservation. And it seems like I'll be upfront with you too. That you need to have a good business plan to look at it. I had this CSN fund space of the package. About on top of based on yard and circle. But in I think what you shared with us, Jacinto, I would say that to be in confidence with you is that regarding the urban the potential. You're just telling us that you're going to be working on it. You know, they're saying that they're not that we need potential customers, we need that support too. At the end, you only have 4-year plan, but this money that's given to you, $14 million, how long is it going to last? Only have 4-year plan. You know, what about the rest of the plans? What, 10, 20 years? Thank you.
Do we have Delegate Amber Kinaswatchkari back on the line? Peggy? Peggy?
Sorry, Chair, I don't see her. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, she's back on the call.
Okay. Delegate Amber Kinaswatchkari, you dropped the call, so are you still back? We're back on. Delegate Amber Kinaswatchkari. Okay, well, she's logging back on. Let's move back to our presenter. Cecilia, Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr., response to Delegate Elmer P. Begay.
Augustine Shana, I'll go ahead and defer the questions back to Shana, Mr. Bennett, to answer.
Put me in the line.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, I'll put you in the queue. Mr. Ben Bennett.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Begay, James K. Begay. This 4-year plan basically is to show that what our commitment is to utilize these funds for 4 years. After 4 years, we're looking at creating the revenues that are generated to propose longer range plans for development and to grow. So this one here, what we're looking at, as I think somebody mentioned it earlier, is startup costs. So that's where we're at with that, Mr. Begay. So that's how I will answer that question. The other thing that, there's a lot that needs to be done out there. One of the things is, I think if you look around, you see all these pinon trees going red. That's due to bark beetle, and it's also hitting the pine trees as well as other forage out there. And what we want to do is to expedite what they call a sanitation salvage of the forest and try to save and utilize the usable timber that is still standing, as opposed to allowing the bark beetle to eat it all up. So those are some of the things. The other thing is, we've been in a drought for so many years now, and our watersheds are depleting. And I think that by managing our forest with forestry, as well as Department of Agriculture and Water Resources, we can begin to establish and reestablish our watersheds for our communities. That's what's really needed. And our forestry plan will help with that, working with Navajo Nation Forest as one of our partners. So now, as far as the chapters, 110 chapters, they will be allowed. Everybody will be. It's a marketing deal. So we do need to have marketing of our product, and we're not only looking at chapters, but we're also looking at off chapters, other businesses off the reservation, other tribes that will need our product. So but budget that is before you is broken down into 4 years, and basically that's to help us get established so that we can move forward. And by the end of 4 years, we're looking at generating enough revenue to where we can begin to finance our own way. And eventually, maybe at the end of 8 years, we can begin to pay dividends back to the nation. Hey,
Attorney, question follow-up.
So, Shananda, Mr. Ben Bennett, does that complete your response?
I beg your pardon?
Does that complete your response, Shananda?
Oh, yes, that completes my answer, response.
I'll discuss this. I'll refer back to the committee. I believe there was a follow-up question from Delegate Elmer P. Begay.
Yeah, Chair Henio, so requesting for $18 million, the budget that I'm looking at it, that you submitted for budget forms. So meaning that it's going to be almost like $4.5 million a year you'll be spending for the next 4 more years. $18 million, that's what things are difficult. I don't know that they hoping that you'll be hoping that there'll be some dividends to give it back to the nation to know how much you can give it back to give it back to the nation. Where's your schedule on it? Do that. I see that there's going to be 8 vehicles to be purchasing it with the personnel that people hired, all these managers and project managers and assistants and laborers and out of the they travel. Give another book that's $275,000. I don't know that the most expensive one is the capital outlay, a building. They give $14 million. Things like what I don't know what kind of equipment will be set up in there for 4 years. Which if there's no customers and it's very slow, what's your plan on it? What you can do with those if there's no $14 or $18 million it costs? What's your plan? Either you can sell it back or relinquish or all those equipment that you can buy. I'm just kidding. I think that there's a question we're looking at. 4 years, if it has any basic question that the idea is called, I don't know what it's about. But I just kidding all this. Bennett.
Okay, here now. Delegate Amr PBK. Delegate Ember Kinasbakari, are you back on the line with us?
Chairman, I am, and I apologize. So I think what the just I was saying was in terms of what's being requested, I don't see that information. And so if I could make a motion to have a work session. I know this goes to NABI, and Mr. Sam had asked, he'll answer our questions at NABI, but really these questions should already be answered. At this point, there should be a thorough due diligence. We should have other Navajo Nation programs chime in, and there should be a proposal from the Department of Economic Development on what they have in their small business loan program. If the region or the chapters are going to support this with their Arpa allocation. And so I just need more information. So at this time, I just wanted to motion, if I'm in order, we could have a work session. And Mr. Sam, I would encourage you to, go back to your program and ask for mentorship on how to request for funding, because we're moving from the thought of, help me, do this for me, because of, we need to ask these critical questions. And as an entrepreneur, this is a great opportunity for you to enhance your presentation and not only provide, commentary, but we need the hard facts. We need to know, what does the market outlook look like? And these are other questions that we've asked other companies. And for example, there's a Crown Point hotel that was allocated funding from the council, but because they could not provide this information, that project is stalled. So whether you provide it to us here at council, our appropriation and how Navajo Nation, for better or for worse, we have a responsibility to make sure that this funding is used appropriately. And we've learned a lot. So some history is there was a $20 million allocation to a joint venture like this. And I'm going to call it a joint venture because we don't know what your profits or what your outlook looks like. So this is a joint venture. It's very risky. But they allocated $20 million to an entrepreneur in Shiprock. And without the proper vetting, all of that funding was lost. there's no industry there at the Shiprock. And at that time, this committee, and this was back, I believe in the 21st or 20th council, that there was lessons learned. So I want to ask our staff and our attorneys, help this committee understand what is the proper vetting, what is the proper due diligence as we move along these requests. From the same community, just recently we were asked to help clean out what was left from the former sawmill that was there in Navajo. We were asked to provide funding for additional apartments. So there's a lot of requests that have come from prior economic development in the community. And I think those are questions that I want to make sure that are being answered. And you do have opposition. I have community members who have come to the office and have taken the time and effort. So I'm not sure if you're meeting with them and talking with them about your vision or how you could work with them on what are some of their concerns and give them some time to process this. I think we could always say, well, the outcome is we're going to have these products, but that mountain is also there's a lot of there's a lot of compassion to do this work when you talk about our trees and the thinning and working with the different departments to get your business venture off of the ground. And although it's it's a very, it may seem like a very well thought out idea, I just don't see the planning that needs to be part of this, the investment and the buy-in. And especially at times, since there's so much ARPA funding flowing, if this has been gone to DOJ for eligibility, and if your chapters that you represent are going to be chipping in to provide some of the initial investment into this, and is it going to be not just with board members, but is this going to be a public company where it's owned by the community and the community receives direct there's shareholders in it, they receive a dividend? Or I did hear Delegate Bennett mention, in 8 years we could give a dividend to Navajo Nation. I always think now is the time communities that are directly impacted should receive should either receive that dividend or that community service benefit fund, since they are the ones who are dealing with the increase in traffic, the increase in issues when it comes to development in their community. So that's why I wanted to motion to for a work session. I think there's a lot of, I would like to hear from Division Director JT Willie and his team in terms of, and if this has gone to the investment committee, if there was room for direct investment, and all of the other options before just asking for this amount of money from Sihasin, considering this is an economic development project. It looks like its sole proprietor will be Mr. Sam. And that's hard to ask this council to invest into you as an individual rather than a collective or something, an entity that is going to be benefiting many, and not just with payroll or with a product, but the ownership then is of the people, since it's the people who are providing this these dollars. So thank you, Chair. That was what I wanted to say. If I could make that motion be recognized, please, before recognizing my motion, if the agents can answer my colleagues' questions, and then we can move for a work session. Thank you, Chair.
Sheikh for your questions to the presenter. After we come back, then I'll recognize your motion. So this is Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr. Response through your agent.
Question Shania, Chairman Aro Kuro na dos Kirigi Nana Shaya Jarok Shasan Ashta Kuro Dosh Mayaja. So thank you again. So I'll turn the floor back over to the agents, Mr. Bennett or Mr. Sam, for a response.
Yeah, thank you, Amber, for your questions and your recommendation. I do think that it is very key that our representatives, which are basically going to be our shareholders, which is you, the council, the Navajo Nation, I think that it would be a good idea to have a work session to address all of these issues. We have been dealing with that. However, I don't think that we did put it in our package because of, I guess we just are at a loss because of COVID. We don't know what the processes and procedures are these days. And I do think that a work session would be very well taken. And I think that it is required. I do recommend that as well. Mr. Begay, I believe I answered your questions. I answered your questions. And I do think that, as indicated, we do want to have the Navajo Nation as a whole be something that we can be proud of. We didn't want to open up the Navajo Mill Corporation to make it where it would become a Navajo Nation enterprise again. I don't know if that's a possibility since, as you indicated, the Red Lake or the Navajo NFTI is still being cleaned up. However, I do think that everything is on the table for consideration. As you know, the main thing is that we want to make sure that we generate revenue, we create jobs above all, and put people to work, and eventually start paying dividends back to the Navajo Nation. So I'll go ahead and make my response end there, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Henyo. Thank you.
Mr. Bennett. Although with this, I'll defer back to the Budget and Finance Committee. Delegate Amber Knusbach-Crotty, is that response sufficient based on your questions?
Oh, thank you. That's sufficient. If we could move now for a motion for a work session. And because I would want to get in the work session a response to those community members who are opposing this legislation. I don't work intimately with this community, but we are just over the mountain, and we do have a history of working together regarding forest management. And so I would want to make sure their questions and concerns are answered at the work session. Thank you, Chair, committee members.
This is Delegate Brown. I'll second the motion to a work session.
There's a motion on the floor, recognize to defer this legislation to a work session, and second by Delegate Nathaniel Brown. So we will move to questions regarding the motion to defer this to a work session. If there are no questions, I'll call for the question to accept the motion. Ramona, roll call vote.
Yes, Chairman Henyo, roll call vote on motion to defer the legislation. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Red.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes red. Honorable Amber Knusbach-Crotty, how do you vote?
Shada, this is Delegate Crotty. I'll vote green. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Knusbach-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I'll vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative. 3 members voting in the affirmative, 1 opposing, chairman not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
Roll call vote. Motion carries. 3 in favor, 1 opposed, chair not voting. This matter has been deferred to a work session with the Budget and Finance Committee and the sponsor and agents. Mr. Ben Bennett for participating in today's discussion. Other than Mr. Sam, though. Delegate Wilson C. Stewart Jr. With this, let's move
Oh,
forward.
Shana, Chairman, Auto Budget and Finance Committee members, thank you.
With this, Chairman Rick Nez, are you on the line, Shananta? Chairman Nez? Legislation 113-22. Chairman Nez going once?
Chair Henio, this is Delegate Crotty.
No, Shananta, Delegate Crowdy?
Yes, Chair. Is there a possibility, can I help Chairman Nez and co-sponsor this legislation?
Have you signed the legislation yet or not?
Could I do that via email?
It has to, Manuel, are you on the line?
Because we make amendments via email, so I'm not sure.
I think.
Chairman, good afternoon, Chairman. Yes, I am.
Okay, there's a request to co-sponsor, but my question was, have you signed the legislation as a co-sponsor? But response is that, can I do that via email? What's the protocol, Mr. Rico?
Thank you, Chairman. According to Chief Legislative Counsel, we cannot, if it requires a signature on the legislation, that needs to be the original signature, Chairman.
So, unfortunately, Delegate Amber Kidos there has to be an original signature. Required by Mr. Rico.
Okay, Chair, if I could get that memo sent over. I think in our efforts to modernize the legislative branch, we need to digitize, because I have a secure signature that, that I could send to the IRS. I could sign something off to the IRS. I should be able to sign something off to our legislative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rico, did you get that? I'll send it to Ms. Peggy Nakai for disbursement.
Chairman Henry, yes, I did. It was also, just to add on to that, it's because the Navajo Nation doesn't have electronic signatures in their code. And it is something that our office has been working to try to at least put something together for Delegate Vice Chair Walker. But I'll get that over to the BNF committee. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Manuel. With that, let's move forward to second call. Chairman Rick Nez. Third and final call, Chairman Rick Nez. We don't have a sponsor, so we'll move forward. Item D, requesting attendance, whether in person or virtual, a leadership meeting with resource and development at the CRE, Colorado Ranch Enterprises, October 10 to the 14th. And travel days will be October 9 to the 15th. So that, committee members, is there a motion?
Vice Chair Smith.
Motion by Vice Chair Smith. Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second. This is Delegate Crotty.
We do have a motion and a second. With that, the committee, Budget and Finance Committee, any questions, comments on this business item? Tanoya, I'll call for the question with a roll call vote. Ramona, roll call vote.
Yes, Chairman, roll call vote on approving the requests. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth Cardi, how do you vote?
Shut it. That is not me. This is Delegate Karate, and I vote green. Thank you. Someone's at the rodeo or the horse. I don't know.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth Cardi votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. Good one. Who's at the rodeo? Hey, not a kid. Delegate Brown votes green. Yeah.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Chairman not voting. Chairman?
Thank you. We have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. So this action item receives a due pass. Next item, rescheduling regular meeting October 18th
Delegate Karate.
because of the fall session. Delegate Amber Kenneth.
Oh, Chairman, I just wanted to recognize that we do have Chairman Ricky Nez on the line for his legislation after this action item. Thank you, Chair Henio. If you need a motion, I can motion on the action item. Thank you.
That's motion by Shanada, Delegate Amber Kenneth rescheduling the meeting. Is there a second? Is there a second? Rescheduling the meeting. Going next. Rescheduling October 18th, Budget and Finance Committee meeting. There's a second, going twice. We do have a motion on the floor to reschedule the regular meeting from October 18th. Is there a second, going 3 times?
This is Delegate Brown. Now we'll second.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, second. So any questions, comments regarding the rescheduling of the meeting of October 18th because of the Navajo Nation Council fall session? I'll call for the question. Ramona, roll call vote.
Chair Henio, this is Peggy. May I?
Peggy.
When you do reschedule a certain meeting, you usually do a date. You propose a date to move the meeting to. And right now, your regular meetings in October are October 4th and the 18th, but the 18th is the one that you're going to be changing. So I would suggest that you have it sometime after the fall session, because the 10th through the 14th, the entire week is going to be with the RDC meeting at the Colorado Ranches. That would be my recommendation, unless you have it at maybe on the 6th or 7th of October. That's, up to the committee.
Thank you for the recommendation, Peggy. So with this, Delegate Amber Kenneth with your motion, do you have a recommended date for rescheduling the October 18th meeting? National Delegate Amber Kenneth. Delegate Amber Kenneth, are you there?
*6.
Peggy, do you still see her on the call?
Shut it.
Yes, I do.
There you go. Shananda, do you have a recommended date with your motion? For scheduling the operations meeting?
Let me pull out. So this is for next, if we could meet, I would say either Tuesday, October 11th or maybe Tuesday, October 11th, in case there's any legislations we need to hear before council. Chairman Henyo. That would be my recommendation.
Kashina, we just took action to be at CRE from October 10th to the 14th.
Oh, that's right. You guys are going out there. Okay. Oh yeah, that'll be virtual for me. So let's do, shall we say October 25th?
25th, Kashina. So with the motion modified to include October 25th, 2022, Shananda Delegate Nathaniel Brown, are you holding the second? Is that good for you?
Oh, Abira.
So that we do have a modified motion for October 25th, 2022. And
At what time?
The
10
usual
o'clock.
10 o'clock. So that, if there are no questions, comments, I'll refer to Ramona for a roll call vote.
Yes, Chairman Henry, roll call votes on approving the rescheduling of the regular meeting and with the consensus of the motion party of the modification on the date and the time. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
3.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Brock Carty, how do you vote?
Shall I vote green? Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Brock Carty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, 1 member not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
She can allow a motion to reschedule October 18th meeting receives a due pass. With the, was it 4 in favor or 3 in favor?
Yes, Chairman, it's 3 in favor and 0 opposing, chairman not voting, and 1 member not voting. Chairman?
Okay, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. Okay, with this, we do have Chairman Nez. Are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Chairman Henio. I am. Thank you.
Hola, you and then unfortunately that's it. So you back up and the hona so we'll deal with legislation 113-22. And Peggy, if you read that into the record.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Budget and Finance Committee. This was assigned to Resources and Development Committee, thence Budget and Finance Committee. So Budget and Finance Committee has final authority. It's a proposed standing committee resolution, 24th Navajo Nation Council, 4th year 2022, introduced by Rick Nez, sponsor, tracking number 0113-22, an act relating to the Resources and Development and Budget and Finance Committees, accepting the Auditor General's audit report of the Fruitland chapter and approving the chapter's proposed corrective action plan. You have those as exhibits to this legislation. You have a internet public review document which shows no comments received. The Resources and Development Committee has a due pass with no amendments. and the vote tally sheet that's attached. Chair.
Thank you for the reading of the legislation to the record. Although before I request call for a motion, is the Office of the Auditor General on the call?
Good afternoon. Hi, this is Karen Briscoe. I'm here on the call for the Upper Fruitland chapter.
Thank you for being on the call. So this, is there a motion to accept resolution 113-22?
Motion, Delegate Crotty.
Motion by Delegate Amber Canas Crotty. Is there a second? Is there
Delegate Brown, I'll second.
And that Delegate Nathaniel Brown, second. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. So with this, let's move forward to the presentation. And before I yield the floor to Chairman Nez, I'll we'll get an update from the Office of the Auditor General, Ms. Briscoe.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Karen Briscoe with the Office of the Auditor General. I'm here to present the report on the internal audit of the Upper Fruitland chapter. This report was issued back in September 30th, 2021. The audit was outsourced and completed by the Heinfeld, Meach and Company. The audit scope for this audit was a 12-month period ending March 31, 2021. The report identified 6 findings. In finding 1, it states the asset items were not always properly capitalized, tracked, or insured. The auditors reviewed 14 capital disbursements. Chapter policies state they'll capitalize assets for property and equipment that are valued at $5,000 or more, but not all applicable property was capitalized. And not all were on the capital asset listing that is submitted to the Risk Management Department for insurance purposes and therefore not covered by insurance. On the other hand, they also had property items that were less than $5,000, the $5,000 threshold, that were capitalized when they should not have been. Property identification numbers were not referenced on the property inventory forms. There was miscoding of capital assets in the accounting system. Finding 2, cash receipts were not deposited in a timely manner, supported by all required documentation, consistently and accurately charged and coded, fully reconciled, or reported to the chapter membership monthly. The auditors reviewed 11 receipts, and the auditors identified issues including deposits were not completed in a timely manner. Deposits were made anywhere from 11 to 47 days after receiving cash. Cash collected were inconsistent with established fee schedules in place. There was coding of cash receipts in the accounting system, and revenues not reported to the community membership each month. Finding 3, bank reconciliations were not completed timely. The auditors reviewed bank reconciliations for chapter bank accounts, and reconciliations were completed anywhere from 4 to 9 months late. They also detected 1 check with only 1 signature when 2 signatures are required, and checks were outstanding for more than 90 days, but they were not voided in accordance with policies. Finding 4, cash disbursements were not properly supported by documentation, were not coded in accordance with the adopted chart of accounts, or were not procured according to adopted policies. The auditors reviewed 18 disbursements, and the auditors identified issues including missing quotations and invoices and miscoding of expenses. Finding 5, effective internal controls over the use of fuel cards and distribution of gift cards were not in place. The chapter had 2 fuel cards totaling $1,000, and cards were used by employees to fuel personal vehicles to conduct chapter business because there was no chapter vehicle. But the chapter is unable to verify that these resources were used for chapter business only. And the chapter also purchased gift cards totaling $1,875 to distribute to graduating students, but there was no policies in place for this activity, and there's no log sheet to verify students received these cards, and also no documentation to show students actually graduated. In finding 6, payroll activity approval were not always being properly documented. Auditors reviewed 20 payroll transactions. Chapter manager or supervisor signature was missing on timesheets, and a check that was issued to the manager was also signed by the manager and did not include a documented justification. Those are the 6 findings reported in the report. The officials and the chapter staff worked together to develop a corrective action plan. Our office reviewed and accepted the corrective action plan. Then the chapter did obtain community approval through chapter resolution for their corrective action plan. Therefore, we're asking for the committee's approval of the audit report and the chapter's corrective action plan so the chapter may move forward to address the audit findings. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Briscoe, for your presentation from the Auditor General's findings. With this, Chairman Nez, you have the floor along with your agent. I believe I did hear Ms. I believe Smith from Upper Fruitland chapter. Chairman Nez.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman Henyo, honorable members of the Budget and Finance Committee, Shanand Bishmas, Anna Seniki, Heheti Kutego, Sabetan Hadid, legislation, Kurosha Hanal, Sozigi, Kehensen. I am sorry, I don't mean to inconvenience anyone, but we just got done with our meeting at Fort Defiance, and I was driving over the mountain when I got notified again. So, di koro Upper Fruitland do, I believe my chapter manager might be on the call, as well as a chapter official. And at Resource and Development Committee, they have really expressed that they will be working on it and focused on fixing all the audit findings and correct these issues. And I do let my precinct chapters the corrective action plan to a sanction what a could be peso get about a hosianda but so ado otabe better husband do ashi yan sada kesigit ashed a later ne chapter manager ge on need go agent not zara bananish ila and the ako asian of the launch of 14. So my chapters, my agents are Chairman Henya. I'd like to give some time over if they are still on the call. Mr. Elvis Key or Ms. Dora Smith, as well as Lisa Bird. Chairman Henya, thank you.
Chairman Nez. I'll be able to. So, the Upper Fruitland chapter, the Representative Hilal Sahatsi regarding the presentation from the Auditor General on the corrective action plan. Upper Fruitland chapter. Chairman Ness. It seems that there's nobody from Upper Fruitland on the call.
Kushila, they were on the call all day, and they decided to hang up. So I really apologize for that. And it's up to you if you want to table it and bring it back. I'm okay with that too. So it's up to you. Back to you, Chairman Henyo. Thank you.
Chairman Ness for giving it back to the committee as the committee wishes to, how they wish to handle it. So this Budget and Finance Committee, the floor is open for questions or comments.
Chairman Henyo, this is Delegate Cardi.
You have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. It looks like if the chapter, I'm on the Zoom and I'm just trying to triple check that if they're on the call. There's a lot of numbers that are called in, but if they're not able to provide, we do need to hear from the officials. So I'll make the motion to table to have this on our next meeting as old business. When we convene, will that be October 4th? I believe. Chair, thank you.
There's a motion to table as we are the final authority. So to October 4th, 2022 at the next regular committee meeting, and I'd be under old business. Is there a second?
This is Delegate Brown.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, second. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor to table. No discussion on tabling motion. So therefore, Ramona, roll call vote on tabling motion.
Yes, Chairman Henyo, roll call vote on the tabling motion. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Honorable Amber Kenneth Cardi, how do you vote?
Shada, this is Delegate Cardi. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth Cardi votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I'll vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, 1 member not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
We do have a do pass of 3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting to tabling motion. So this is hereby tabled to October 4th. And so let's move back to the agenda. Chairman Nez for coming back on, and we'll see you on October 4th.
Thank you.
Chairman Nez. With this, let's move forward to the agenda. And on our agenda, we have completed our business items. The last close of session, written announcements. I do not see any written announcements, so our next regular meeting is October 4th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Chairman Henyo, this is Peggy. May I?
Peggy, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. I would suggest that for that motion that was made on legislation number 109-22, that there ought to be a date set for that work session. So it's just not an open matter, so that the presenters of that legislation can prepare adequately for the committee.
Okay, Peggy, so maybe schedule that for October 4th as an agenda action item.
If that's what the committee chooses, okay.
Melissa, if otherwise, if there's a committee member wishes to schedule a date today, you can suspend the agenda to add another action item to new business. If not, there a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Delegate Gay.
Second,
Motion-
Delegate Cardi.
Delegate Elmer P. Gay. Motion to adjourn, second by Delegate Amber Knusbach-Crotty. So we do have a motion second to adjourn. If there are no questions, parting questions, Mahona, roll call vote. Motion to adjourn.
Yes, Chairman Henry, roll call vote on the adjournment. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Honorable Amber Knusbach-Crotty, how do you vote?
Shut it. Delegate Cardi votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Shadeja, Honorable Amber Knusbach-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Amber P. Gay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Gay votes green. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote? Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Chairman not voting, 1 member not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
And we do have a motion to adjourn, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, 4 not voting. Officially adjourned at 3:34 p.m. Finance Committee. Thank you for participating today and be safe out there today.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Budget and Finance Committee. The next meeting is October 4th. And then the committee reports and the vote tally sheets that will be ready today, unless you want to sign them tomorrow. And then I need to do the memos too for changing the schedule, etc.
I'm here, Steno, Peggy.
You're here now? Okay. Can you give me about 10 minutes to grab all the papers and stuff?
So I'll be here. I'll be the last cubicle.
Okay. Don't take off now. Thanks. And all right. And thank you for all the presenters that presented today. And we look forward to hearing more reports next time. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, I have a question.
Hi, Ayla.
Okay, Chair Henry, I don't know if you're still on the line, but I have a question. I've got questions. I've been emailing DCD, Yellowman, but it's about $1.5 million that was approved it and went through the council and then approved it by President Nance back in August the 12th. And so right now, where does it go? They're waiting for who takes care of after that to give the money to or the contractors. How does it go about it? I know that. Do you know anything about it?
Well, usually Rob Willie, he's on the call. It goes, I believe that if the president didn't line item veto it or anything, then it would go to OMB. OMB would either, if it's going to be to the chapter, is it?
It's one of those shortfalls.
Oh,
so
short.
It's already been had account numbers and that's it.
Oh, okay. Then it would probably be up to the controller's office, I think. Rob, maybe you can chime in on that because that's where the drawdowns would be.
Do you have the resolution number?
What was that?
Do you have the resolution number on that allocation?
The resolution number?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably can get it for you, yeah.
Either that or which one?
It's a $1.5 million for Tisto shortfall. Tisto community building.
Is it the multi-purpose center?
Yes, yes.
You have that, Rob?
Application number is CJY 3722. Yeah, it looks like CPMD is the one that's responsible for it. So I'm assuming that it may go into that same business unit if the funds are with CPMD.
Because they're not answering it. That we call them and I email them that they're not. Yeah, because the contractors are leaving now and they don't come back and do it again until next summer.
Yeah, I'm not sure because it all had to start with CPMD. It looks like just based upon what's written in the resolution.
Okay,
Turn it over to OMB.
Okay, so there is an L. Davis. Is this the individual that usually handles things from CPMD that's on the call? I see L. Davis.
It might be him or Atakai, one of the other.
James Atakai, is he on the call? I just see Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, can you chime in on this?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
If Delegate Bia could forward that to me. I don't see the 1.5 being allocated from the as a shortfall. That's when I'll follow up on it. So since I'm not a part of the email, I want to see exactly what it is.
Rob, do you have a copy of that legislation? Maybe Rob can send that resolution to you, Mr. Davis, and then that way we can start addressing that with Mr. Begay. He's saying that the CPMD hasn't been responding to his calls. Could you three get together somehow?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So Mr. Begay's on the call right now, so maybe you guys can arrange a meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. This is Delegate Begay. Hello.
Mr. Davis, are you on the call still? And Rob,
Yes.
when can you three meet to discuss this, or do you want to just we can all vacate this meeting and you guys can go ahead and make arrangements to meet, or what's your call on that?
I'm looking up the resolution right now. I'm pretty much available this week.
I guess let me know what time and then the calling information, and then maybe you need to invite OMB into it also.
Okay.
Okay, so you need OMB on the call too? Is Dominic, are you still on the call?
It'd be good, yeah, if they were on.
All right, well, Suzanne, Mr. Begay, how do you want to handle this then? Mr. Davis,
I think we best, because it's been taking a long time, and I tried calling to CPMD yesterday and all week to last week. There's only the it goes to voicemail.
Mr. Davis, can you work this out with Delegate Begay, please? You and Rob, and maybe someone from OMB.
Okay.
All right. Hashida, give each other the contact information or something.
Okay. Maybe I'll contact. The only one that I have contact is probably Mr. Willie. I don't have the other one that's from CPMD.
Mr. Davis, can you share your information with Delegate Begay? Either send me your contact number to Peggy Nakai, and then I'll just forward it to Rob and also Elmer, and then also to Dominic Bial, so that you guys can all have a chat.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
Okay. I'll send you the, as soon as Mr. Davis sends me his contact number, I'll send it to the four of you, OMB, Rob, Mr. Davis, and yourself. And then you guys can
That sounds good.
call each other. Huh?
Okay, best card thank you.
All right, Gushi. All right,
Got it.
well, if there's no other questions, we're off the call now.